After my rebirth, my sister-in-law, Kate, was eating sea snails 3 times a day for beauty, even forcing my brother, Ken, to dive into the sea to catch them for her. Was she trying to stop me from becoming beautiful? Ken looked at me warily. I shook my head, knowing I wanted to witness firsthand what happened in my previous life. My brother, indulging Kate, had dived 200 meters offshore to catch sea snails. He eventually drowned. I remembered seeing Kate infested by those snails, her body covered in tentacles, constantly oozing clear, viscous slime. I want to be Miss World. Don't think I don't know, my friend got so radiant and youthful eating these sea snails. Kate was still lying in bed, fantasizing in broad daylight, which made me laugh out loud. In this life, I definitely wouldn't tell her that her friend had actually gotten cosmetic microsurgery to look beautiful, and it had nothing to do with sea snails. Yen, Kate said, let me tell you, these sea snails are precious. A close friend of mine told me she ate them and quickly regained her youth, becoming absolutely radiant. Her looks used to be a step below mine, but after eating them, she looks completely transformed. Don't you think if I eat them, the title of Miss World will surely be mine? Watching Kate's smug, arrogant expression and her boastful demeanor, describing the snail's effects in front of me, I momentarily froze. When that face had smiled brightly at me, I knew I had been reborn. That face left a deep, haunting impression on me. Everything felt like it happened just yesterday, my lower abdomen still bleeding. I writhed and begged for forgiveness, while she just laughed and said, "Go to hell." The intense, suffocating feeling in my chest immediately brought me back to reality. I suddenly realized this reincarnation was a warning to me. In this life, don't meddle in useless affairs. I continued her line of thought. Your friend is also competing in the Miss World pageant, isn't she? She replied, that's right, her face beaming with excitement. I immediately understood. No wonder that woman had encouraged my sister-in-law to eat sea snails. I chimed in, don't worry, Kate, you'll definitely win this time. You're so beautiful, how could she possibly be your competitor? Even if you don't eat sea snails, she might not surpass you. I expected Kate to be overjoyed by my words, but instead, she looked displeased, her face falling instantly. It turned out she was convinced that without eating sea snails, victory wasn't guaranteed. That won't do, she fretted. I need to ensure there are no mistakes. I reluctantly nodded in agreement, feigning helplessness. Looking at her self-righteous face, I couldn't help but sigh. What a pity, such a radiant face belonging to nothing more than a walking vase. No wonder she insisted on eating sea snails in my previous life. She was being incited by someone else. It was strange that she would listen to a competitor. Her foolishness was her own problem. I just wanted to live freely. In this life, I would definitely not get involved with that foolish, malicious sister-in-law again. My previous life had unfolded exactly like this scene today. As soon as Kate heard her friend had become young and beautiful from eating sea snails, she didn't bother to verify the truth and insisted on eating them. I looked at the disgusting, wriggling little creatures and advised her, can this really make you beautiful? I heard these sea snails are incredibly resilient. The parasites inside them don't die even after boiling at over 100 degrees Celsius. Eating them could harm your health, doing more bad than good. Kate turned pale with fear upon hearing me. She immediately threw away the snail in her hand and swore, if that's true, I absolutely won't eat them. Hearing her, I felt relieved, thinking the matter was settled. But then, as the beauty pageant approached, her friend won the Miss World title, while Kate was eliminated, only placing 10th. She found me, grabbed my shoulders, and shook me violently. You fraud, give me back my Miss World title. Give me back my prize money. Didn't you say eating sea snails would cause problems? But my friend ate them, she's fine, and she even won. If it weren't for your asterisk problem, causing me to drop out of the top 10, I would have won today. At this point, she suddenly became agitated and pulled out a knife. Go to hell. Before I could explain about her friend, she stabbed me. I just wanted to tell her that her friend looked younger and more beautiful not because of eating sea snails, but because she had cosmetic microsurgery. But Kate wasn't interested in any explanation. She was consumed by the idea that I had made her miss out on the championship and was determined to kill me. I bent over, clutching my stomach, covering the wound and begging for forgiveness, but she showed no mercy. She continued to stab me dozens of times, each strike precise, forceful, and decisive, as if she wanted me to die instantly. Not stopping there, she twisted the blade inside my stomach. I gritted my teeth and rolled my eyes in agony while she laughed maniacally. You deceiver, you deserve to burn in hell. Finally, my body couldn't take it anymore. I could only watch helplessly as she stabbed me to death. As I fell into a pool of blood, my eyes still reflected her triumphant smile. Even now, remembering it makes me shiver. So, in this life, I will absolutely not care about her anymore. Not only that, I'll add fuel to the fire. Kate, you really must eat a lot this time so you can surpass your friend. Oh, that's right, I wonder how effective farmed ones are. If you're not confident, tell Ken to dive into the sea and catch some wild sea snails for you, okay? Sure enough, she greatly approved of my suggestion. In my previous life, my sincere advice only earned me Kate's resentment. In this life, with a bit of cunning coaxing, she treated me like a savior. She smiled sweetly and said, "Yes, this time I must win. Tell Ken to catch a lot more." I nodded, satisfied. It's best if you eat a lot, Kate. I also want to see what magical effects these sea snails have if they can help you win the crown. In my previous life, I had thoroughly investigated. Her friend hadn't eaten sea snails to look younger but had cosmetic microsurgery, a subtle facial lift that didn't alter her overall appearance. Yet my cruel sister-in-law stubbornly believed she became beautiful because of sea snails. Before I could explain, I was stabbed to death. Every time I remember it, my eyes well up. Not from hatred, but from sorrow. I had genuinely cared for her, only to be stabbed to death in the end. So be it. If she wants to eat them in this life, the more the better. If I meddle again, I'm a dog. Predictably, as soon as Kate heard my words, she eagerly dragged Ken to the sea to catch snails. Ken, stop being busy. My important matter comes first. Yen just said wild sea snails are truly effective. Go catch them for me quickly. But I haven't finished mopping the floor yet. Before he could finish, Kate snatched the mop from his hand and tossed it aside. Never mind the mopping. I told you, my affairs are the most important. Once I win the pageant, why would you need to mop? I'll hire 2 maids, one for each of us, to wait on you hand and foot so you can be the commander, ordering whatever you wish. Hearing this, my brother, Ken, who was famously afraid of his wife, couldn't stop smiling. That would be wonderful. Remember your promise. The two of them dreamed of their future together, laughing as if it were a festival. No matter what, my brother truly was a weak-willed man. He'd agree to anything for his beautiful wife. Sea snails live 100–200 meters deep. They're not easy to catch. I wanted to see if Ken would catch any today, and if the couple would fight over it. In my previous life, because his wife couldn't eat the snails in time and lost the title, he still defended her, calling me a troublemaker. Even when she killed me, he didn't intervene. Afterwards, he helped her dispose of my body, making me disappear for days. No one knew what happened to me. So, compared to Kate, the person I hated most was Ken. He was so blindly obsessed with his wife. He claimed, "We're family," but then turned to help an outsider deal with his own sister. If we're talking about affection, he was even worse than our golden retriever. The last time I was in trouble, our golden retriever tried to save me, but it was weaker than a human and couldn't fight off 2 adults, so it ran to save itself. Remembering that loyalty, I bought Bones to treat it to a hearty meal. On Kate's side, Ken quickly returned from the sea. Just as I predicted, he hadn't caught many sea snails at all. It was just luck. He happened to find a few snails washed ashore, still barely alive, but they died soon after he picked them up. Kate looked at the lifeless snails, frowning. "They're all dead, how am I supposed to eat them?" My sister-in-law had always been picky and hard to please. Ken forced a smile and suggested, "We could boil them and dip them in sauce. That works too." Kate only grew angrier upon hearing this. Will the effect be the same? How can fresh sea snails compare to dead ones? The effect will be greatly diminished, won't it? After saying this, she grumbled about him not being able to do even this small task. Tell me, what are you good at? Just because of a few small sea snails, the two began to bicker. The atmosphere grew tense. At this moment, I pretended to intervene to help Ken. These sea snails just died, didn't they? They're dead anyway. Why don't you grind them up and eat them with sauce? Who knows, the effect might not be bad. Kate's eyes lit up. Oh, you're right. Why didn't I think of that? A rich, spicy cold salad would be perfect. It wouldn't affect much. I pursed my lips, smiling, feigning disapproval. That's true, but if you add too many seasonings, wouldn't it mask the natural flavor and effectiveness of the sea snails? If you're truly determined to win the championship, I think eating them raw is best. Upon hearing this, the gloom on Kate's face vanished instantly. Her face blossomed into a radiant smile like a spring breeze. That's right, let's do that. Grind them up and marinate them lightly, then eat them. Kate cheerfully and excitedly prepared to eat. She didn't realize she had fallen into my trap. In reality, sea snails aren't so easy to kill. Even boiling them at 100 degrees Celsius isn't guaranteed to kill them. How could they die just by being brought ashore? They were only temporarily suffocated. Put them back in water, and they'd revive immediately. Ken, thinking I was defending him, gave me a thumbs up. My sister is still the best. In this whole family, only you can handle Kate. I gave a fake, modest laugh. Not at all. Kate just has grand ambitions. Once she wins the title, I even want to take a commemorative photo with her. Such a string of empty praises made Kate giddy with joy, completely oblivious. Ken, following his wife's instructions, took the sea snails into the kitchen to process them. I looked at the slimy, viscous layer and felt nauseous, but Kate was incredibly excited, saying she wanted to eat them right away. Without waiting for Ken to finish grinding them, she grabbed a piece and put it in her mouth, chewing noisily with great pleasure. It's really chewy. Watching the scene, as she savored the sea snails as if they were a delicacy, I couldn't bear it any longer. I ran straight to the bathroom to vomit. While I was throwing up, Ken was still dotingly serving his beloved wife sea snails. Less than half an hour later, when I came out, Kate had devoured all the sea snails. She even said the slimy water in the jar was also very nourishing and had to be saved to drink. I suppressed my disgust and continuously praised her. Kate, you're truly brave. With such determination, you'll succeed in anything. She smiled brightly. One must endure hardship to become a person above others. Then she glanced at me and asked if I wanted to try a glass. I quickly waved my hand, refusing. Such a good thing should be reserved for you, Kate. Giving it to me would be a waste of nature's bounty, wouldn't it? I'm not competing in the pageant. Her hypocrisy was evident on her face, yet she still seemed very satisfied with my answer. I knew her invitation was just a formality. Would she really give it to me? She wouldn't dare. Everything in her room was carefully locked. I remembered when I was in 8th grade, I was fascinated by her sparkling pearl necklace. Because I didn't know better, I picked it up to look and was almost beaten to death. Initially, she accused me of stealing, but then, seeing my brother arrive, she immediately changed her expression, feigning gentleness and saying, "If you like it, just take it." I knew her cruelty too well. Her kindness was fake. She only showed her true colors when her interests were threatened. Just like in my previous life, I stopped her from eating sea snails, causing her to miss the chance to win the title. She then killed me without blinking an eye. So, in this life, I would keep my distance from her. Or rather, I was sick of it. I no longer wanted to play that fake game. Let everything end quickly. I wanted to see if she could win without me in her way. As the competition day drew nearer, Kate grew more anxious, wanting to eat more sea snails. She urged my brother, "Oh my goodness, Ken, those wild sea snails, can you catch more? The competition day is almost here, I don't want my friend to surpass me." I stood by, adding fuel to the fire. "That's right, Ken, how can you not sacrifice for something so important? If they're not on the surface, dive to the bottom to find them. I heard sea snails like to live at a depth of 200 meters. What 200 meters? Ken almost wet himself with fear upon hearing this. Kate, however, seemed enchanted, her eyes shining when she heard sea snails, only registering sea snails at the bottom of the sea and completely ignoring the 200 meters. She continuously urged Ken, "That's right, Ken. Yen said if they're at the bottom, then dive down and catch them. Are you really going to let me lose the Miss World title?" Ken hesitated, looking awkward. I continued to egg him on. "Exactly, brother. If Kate says go, then go. Don't you love her anymore? She's so beautiful, it'd be worth dying for her." Kate grew even more determined, glaring at Ken. "That's right, are you going or not?" Under my incessant instigation and Kate's coercion, Ken finally gritted his teeth and nodded. "All right, I'll go." So he actually put on diving gear and left. Years ago, he was a renowned diver, even backed by a team of professional divers, but he hadn't been in the water for many years. This time, he left and never returned. When Kate heard the news of his accident, she went crazy. We searched along the coastline for days, even hiring a rescue team, but found no trace of him. It wasn't until the 5th day that his body floated up, discovered by a group of tourists. They reported a drifting corpse. Kate ran to see the body and cried until she passed out repeatedly. I also feigned a few crocodile tears. "Brother, you were so young and now you're gone. We just asked you to catch a few sea snails. Why did you have to sacrifice your life? How are we going to tell Mom and Dad in the afterlife?" I cried hysterically. Kate was touched and hugged me tightly. "Yen, it's all my fault. If I hadn't stubbornly forced your brother to catch wild sea snails, this wouldn't have happened." I offered her a tissue, suppressed my tears, and then comforted her. "Don't blame yourself too much, Kate. Brother's fate was simply unlucky. It's not your fault. Now that he's gone, you must be even more persistent in pursuing your dream. Live for his sake." We hugged and cried like it was raining. I never expected that Kate, who usually had such a cruel heart, had a shred of genuine affection for Ken. She echoed my words. "Don't worry, Yen, I will not let Ken's and your efforts be in vain. Once I win the title and get the money, I'll take you to live in a mansion. Every day we'll eat steak, drink wine, and hire people to catch so many sea snails we can't finish them." She said this, then remembered Ken's death and burst into tears again. I truly didn't expect that even at this point, she was still thinking about sea snails. Their miraculous effect had deeply ingrained itself in her mind, difficult to shake off. The person who lured her into eating sea snails was indeed very clever, eliminating a competitor without lifting a finger. Ken's body was now bloated and swollen, making him almost unrecognizable. If not for distinctive marks on his body, no one would have recognized him. After a period of grief, we took him to the crematorium. This was considered an accident, so although the police asked a few perfunctory questions, they didn't investigate further. We carried his urn, calmly returning home. Looking at his wedding photo with Kate and reflecting on what had happened, her tears fell like pearls. "No money needed. You love eating sea snails, right? Now your husband is dead, you're all alone. Keep eating them. I want to see if your end is any better than your husband's." Kate truly had nerves of steel. In less than a few days, she had recovered her spirits. She constantly asked me, "Yen, how does my skin look lately?" I smiled faintly. "Quite good, smooth, and as shiny as a peeled egg." Upon hearing this, she immediately beamed. The whole family was still mourning Ken. Before the week was over, she had put everything aside. Just a few days ago, she was sobbing hysterically, but now it was as if nothing had happened, as if she wanted my validation. She asked again, "So this time I'll definitely win, right?" I closed my eyes and lied. "Yes, the championship is definitely yours, but time is short. You need to train quickly and eat plenty of sea snails." She happily nodded, but I glimpsed a small tentacle growing behind her ear. Can she still eat more? Perhaps she hadn't yet discovered her body was changing. I had said it before, sea snails weren't so easy to kill. Boiling or mixing them into a salad wouldn't kill them, let alone eating them raw. I looked at her with a chilling smile. "Kate, I wish you an early reunion with Ken." Not long after, she also discovered the abnormalities in her body. She frantically sought me out, her eyes filled with panic. "Yen, what's happening? Why are tentacles growing all over my body?" I looked at her navel, where several flesh-colored tentacles had sprouted, occasionally wiggling, continuously oozing clear, viscous fluid. I felt sick to my stomach, but on the outside, I gently comforted her. "Don't worry, Kate, these are the sea snails you ate. They're taking care of your skin. Wait a while, and once they're fully absorbed, you'll be fine." Is that really true? Since Ken's death, and now with her body experiencing problems, I had become her sole support. She treated me much more politely than before, no longer arrogant. I calmly replied, "Of course it's true, Kate. Do you think I would lie to you? Just wait obediently until the competition day, explode on stage, and win the championship." Kate nodded vigorously. "All right," I advised her. "It's best not to leave the house during this time. This is the most crucial period for the sea snails to absorb." She obediently agreed. After she went into her room, I locked the door from the outside. In her current state, I couldn't let her scare other people. And since she cherished that face so much, I definitely had to shatter that hope. From then on, every day I served her sea snails as the main dish. I bought the snails online. I didn't dare to catch such resilient creatures myself. Since Ken's death, Kate had become incredibly dependent on me. After her mutation, her affection for me plummeted. She used to hate me so much, but now she loved me, obeying my every word. Just like today, I cooked her a bowl full of sea snails. She ate every last bit. She was now hazy and disoriented, Perhaps the sea snails had parasitized and taken over her consciousness. Now she was no different from a monster. Taking advantage of her confusion, I removed all the mirrors from the house. I couldn't let her discover this secret, otherwise, everything would be for naught. She asked me why, and I gave the excuse that it was for her own good. Light will reduce the effectiveness of the sea snails. In the evenings, I didn't turn on any lights, only lit a candle. In the dim light, she looked like a monster, but she remained completely unaware. Every day she continued to live in her fantasy of becoming Miss World. She said she would definitely succeed. I didn't want to be the one to shatter that dream, couldn't bear to expose her at this moment. Because the punishment for her, to me, was still not enough. I dreamt alongside her, imagined alongside her, pretending to be happy too. Kate, once we have money, I'll help you become a star, help you find an entertainment company to sign a contract with. Hearing the word star, her eyes lit up like a child's. Good, good, I'll be a star. I looked at her, thinking to myself, how pitiful. Divorce won't be far off now. The parasitic sea snails were truly terrifying. She became increasingly severe. She found me, held out her hand, and cried out in pain, "Yen, I hurt so much." I looked at her body, covered in tentacles. How could it not hurt? The sea snails had spread throughout her entire body, but in my eyes there was no pity. Instead, I comforted her. Kate, pursuing beauty has a price. There are only 2 days left until the competition. You don't want all your efforts to be for nothing now, do you? She agreed verbally, but still grimaced and moaned. But Yen, I really hurt so much. My hands hurt, my legs hurt, my neck hurts, my head hurts too. I followed her gaze and seemed to understand. The sea snails had parasitized even her head. Before long, I feared she wouldn't even be able to stand. I felt a pang of something and subtly suggested, if you can't bear it anymore, maybe we should go to the hospital for a checkup. After all, she had no value left. Killing her wouldn't be interesting. Keeping her to suffer the consequences of the parasites would be far more satisfying. The parasitic aftereffects of those sea snails will follow you for life, which is far more satisfying than a quick death. At the mention of the hospital, she suddenly reacted as if going crazy. No, I'm not going to the hospital, I'm afraid of injections. If outsiders see me like this, they'll surely mock me. Yen, do you have any way to help me get rid of these things? I shook my head. There's no other way unless. I deliberately trailed off, piquing her curiosity. She anxiously grasped my hand and said, quickly, unless what? I feigned difficulty. Unless we pull them all out of your body. As if seeing hope, Kate tightly gripped my hands, pleading, Yen, help me. Can you help me take them out? I immediately feigned fear. No, Kate, I wouldn't dare touch those things. Besides, if you pull them out, won't you lose your perfectly beautiful face and flawless skin? Upon hearing this, she slumped to the ground, hesitating for a long time, as if making an incredibly difficult decision. Finally, she slammed the bedroom door shut. Even though I pounded on the door from outside, she wouldn't open it. Painful screams echoed from inside the room, making me uneasy. She wouldn't actually try to pull them out herself, would she? But if she does, that's fine too. If she injures herself, I can't be blamed. The screaming lasted a long time, then fell silent. I stood outside the door and called, Kate, are you all right? Do you have the strength to open the door? No one answered. I immediately called for an ambulance because I needed to be present as a witness to avoid suspicion. She could die, but not in front of me. Not long after, the ambulance arrived. I recounted the serious situation to the doctors. Please, save my sister-in-law. Family, step aside. The doctors collectively kicked open the door and rushed in. The scene inside stunned everyone. My sister-in-law lay sprawled on the floor, covered in blood like a bloody snowman, unconscious. On the floor lay scattered pieces of wriggling sea snails and a bloody knife blade. My sister-in-law was truly cruel to herself, and even more so to others. I couldn't help but recall my previous life. Back then, I also lay motionless in a pool of blood just like this. I never expected her to have such a day. A sarcastic smile unconsciously curled at the corner of my mouth. Even the doctors, who had witnessed countless gruesome scenes, were astonished by her condition. They looked at the snails crawling on the ground and asked me, what happened here? I pretended to be heartbroken, putting on a perfect act. My sister-in-law, wanting to compete in the beauty pageant, ate a type of sea snail that boosts energy, recommended by a close friend. Upon hearing this, the doctors were furious. Nonsense. This type of snail has strong parasitic capabilities. How can you just eat it casually? Quickly, get her to the emergency room. And you, they said to me, Call the police immediately to investigate what that friend was up to. Recommending something like this is clearly intentional harm. The doctors were extremely angry and rushed my sister-in-law to emergency care. I stayed to arrange everything and immediately called that good friend. The doctors said she intentionally caused harm. I, of course, knew that very well. To eliminate competitors, not only my sister-in-law but several other contestants were also advised to use this type of sea snail. It's just that some were cautious and didn't fall into the trap. Only my sister-in-law, greedy for fame and fortune, believed that deceit. To me, she had actually provided great help. But don't think I would let her off the hook. In my previous life, because of her, I was killed by my sister-in-law. She indirectly caused the death of 3 of us, so I would not forgive her. I called her, luring her over. Lily, my sister-in-law wants to discuss the competition after tomorrow. Please come right away. The other end of the line hesitated, then asked suspiciously, Your sister-in-law, can she still compete? Her questioning tone further confirmed to me that the sea snail secret was something she had deliberately spread. It turned out she was also the type of person who would stop at nothing to achieve her goals, exactly like my sister-in-law. I suppressed my anger and calmly replied, Can she compete? Of course. She ate the snails you recommended and they're incredibly good. Her whole body is glowing, white and smooth like a peeled egg. Upon hearing this, her face turned purple with rage. She had thought her scheme failed and even helped my sister-in-law get ahead. Women's jealousy slowly revealed her ambition. She spoke a cold sentence and hung up. Wait there, I'll be right over. Less than half an hour later, she arrived. I had just called the police. I would absolutely not let her escape. Even though she hadn't harmed me in this life, she indirectly caused my brother's death and seriously injured my sister-in-law, landing her in the hospital. She wasn't a good person and deserved to be punished. As soon as she saw me, she sashayed over. Where's your sister-in-law? Her tone was anxious and annoyed. I glanced at her, smiling slightly. My sister-in-law is in there, getting her beauty restoration done. She's almost perfect now, but she's still not satisfied. She said she has to be the most beautiful in the whole hall to win the championship. As soon as she heard this, she revealed a look of contempt, her eyes full of sarcasm. It was also my sister-in-law's fault for not being able to read people, which led to her downfall. Before I could finish my sentence, she hurriedly entered the hospital room. When she saw Kate wrapped in bandages from head to toe, she believed it. She believed my sister-in-law had actually undergone cosmetic microsurgery. She laughed mockingly. How daring! She didn't even spare a single spot on her body. I stood blocking the door, afraid she might run away. By now, the police must be close. Amidst her mocking laughter, Kate woke up. Thanks to timely emergency treatment, she was partially conscious. Seeing the situation clearly, she glared at her friend, Lily. It's you. You're the one who ruined me like this, aren't you? Finally, she knew the truth, but sadly, it was too late. Lily, exposed, panicked but still defiantly said, What does it have to do with me? I only recommended it. I didn't force you to use it, did I? Didn't you use it yourself? You brought this misfortune upon yourself. Who else can you blame? Kate trembled with rage. You evil woman, I'll kill you. And you too, Yen, does this also have something to do with you? You kept telling me to eat sea snails at first. Did you know all along that they would parasitize people? I remained unperturbed, calmly replying, Kate, you're wronging me. You were the one who first mentioned the sea snails. I just casually added a suggestion. I've been tirelessly taking care of you these past few days. How can you blame me? If I really wanted to harm you, I would have just waited for you to die from the sea snails. Why would I take you to the hospital? Kate was silent for a moment, as if she understood. Yes, I can't blame Yen, it's all this Lily's fault. With that, she tried to get off the bed, intending to fight Lily to the death, but when she raised her hand, she realized she couldn't move. Yes, due to prolonged sea snail parasitism, she was paralyzed. She was only lucky to have survived. Kate burst into heartbroken sobs, looking at me. Yen, what's wrong with me? I bowed my head, full of remorse. Kate, you ate too many sea snails, leading to severe infection. They have eroded your internal organs. Now you are completely paralyzed. No, I still have to participate in the competition. Now I'm lying here, unable to move. What about my competition? She cried even more tragically than when Ken died. Her competitor, Lily, burst into laughter. Haha, perfect. No one can compete with me anymore. I told you, there's no way eating sea snails would be harmless. So you guys tricked me, but why bring me here, to watch a show? She was still gloating, unaware that her punishment was imminent. I smiled faintly, taking out my phone. Of course, not just to watch a show. Every word and action of yours just now has been fully recorded on this phone. The police are coming soon, and they will arrest you. This is evidence for the court. Upon hearing me mention the police, Lily's face instantly turned pale, filled with horror and resentment. You bitch, you're even more devious than your sister-in-law. You dared to set me up? She glared and lunged, trying to snatch my phone. I immediately pushed her away. Just then, the police arrived and arrested her on the spot. She struggled violently, her eyes like knives fixed on me. Officers, you've got the wrong person. I didn't do anything. A police officer sternly shouted. Silence. Cooperate obediently. Someone has accused you of intentionally inciting others to eat life-threatening sea snails. They want to prosecute you for attempted murder. What murder? I don't know. I didn't know it was so serious. Yen, Kate, I was wrong. Both of you please tell the police to forgive me. The competition is the day after tomorrow. I can't be absent. She deserved such a punishment, so I felt no pity. I raised my phone and pointed it at her face. Give up. You deliberately lured my sister-in-law into eating sea snails to eliminate a competitor. I played the freshly recorded video for her to see. She was stunned, speechless. The police asked, "Do you have anything else to say?" She looked desperate. Nothing to say. I was just one step away, and I could have won the championship. Why did I lose to an unknown girl like this? Her unwillingness was both pitiful and laughable. As the police led her away, she remained unrepentant, turning to my sister-in-law and shouting, "So what? I've ruined Kate anyway. If I'm finished, she's finished too." Before leaving, she even threw her head back and screamed. I honestly didn't understand what joy she found in such a self-defeating act of harming others. After they left, I turned to look at Kate. She was like a lost soul. It took her a long time to speak in a daze. Yen, why has it come to this? Now I'm paralyzed. What will I do in the future? She thought I would still comfort, care for, and support her like family. But I'm sorry, not this time. Now that revenge had been exacted, she no longer had any value. I didn't need to pretend anymore. I even wanted to tell her one more grand plan to stimulate her one last time. I stepped closer and smiled softly. Kate, from now on, you'll have to rely on yourself for the rest of your life. Hospital costs are so high every day, I don't have the time, energy, or money to take care of you anymore. I'll help you with the discharge procedures, okay? She choked with anger. How? How could you kick someone when they're down? I'm your brother's wife, your sister-in-law. How can you abandon me at a time like this? I coldly retorted, why not? Am I supposed to take care of you for life? Have you forgotten how you treated me when you were healthy? She suddenly regretted it. I'm sorry, Yen. I'm sorry for what I did to you before. Can you forgive me? I refused without thinking. No, take care of yourself. I also have to be busy with my own life now. Take care. I deliberately taunted her. Ah, the beauty pageant spot? My sister has replaced you. Now that you and Lily can't participate, let me help you both fulfill this dream. After hearing this, Kate couldn't maintain her composure anymore. She went into a frenzy, cursing at me. You bitch, have you been planning this all along? You're just like Lily, you both tricked me. I nodded slightly calmly. Yes, that's right. I never thought I, Kate, who hunted birds my whole life, would finally get my eyes pecked out by a bird. She laughed and laughed, then suddenly went insane. I took her back to her birth parents' home, but her family abandoned her, leaving her to wander the streets. Not long after, she disappeared without a trace, and I never heard from her again. As for me, on the day of the competition, I used my sister-in-law's spot. The organizers happened to be short-staffed and didn't ask many questions. I simply explained that my sister-in-law was busy and couldn't make it. On the day of the competition, beauties from all over shone brightly. In the end, with a bit of luck, I won the championship. Afterwards, I was signed by an entertainment company, becoming an actress. Every day I acted, filmed game shows, and was even pursued by several young masters and investors, but I refused them all. I thought this opportunity wasn't easy to come by, and it was also thanks to my sister-in-law's help. For the rest of my life, I just wanted to work hard, win awards, and live a normal life. Other things were not part of my plan. My plan was that if I earned money, I would do charity, donate to poor regions, build bridges, roads, and schools. If I hadn't earned money yet, I would take on advertisements, live stream, and change my lifestyle. Such a life is also very good.